Hey guys, I'm Tom the Tech Chap, and after 4 long years, Apple have finally updated the iPad mini. This is technically the 5th generation mini, but to be honest, even next to the original from 2012, you'd struggle to see the difference just by looking at it. Actually using it, however, it's a massive leap forward. With the ridiculously powerful A12 Bionic processor, the same one used in the iPhone XS, 3 gigs of RAM, up from 2 on the old Mini, more storage, and of course it ships running iOS 12, so this feels like a proper modern Apple device. But starting at £399, the same in dollars, is the iPad mini still the best mini tablet on the market, and should you actually consider buying this? So the new Mini offers a whole host of upgrades. The new processor, a much better screen that's 25% brighter, more color accurate, less reflective, and it now offers True Tone. We get Apple Pencil support, although frustratingly it's still the first gen version, a brand new 7-megapixel selfie camera, and a major overhaul of connectivity, including Bluetooth 5, Wi-Fi AC, and Gigabit LTE using eSIMs on the cellular version. So that's a pretty big upgrade then, in almost every way, except the design. I mean, with a few minor tweaks, it's essentially the same thing as the original from, 7 years ago now? I mean, on the one hand, it still looks good, and it's a premium, well-built tablet, and also in this form factor, it is relatively easy to use one-handed if you're just reading books or watching videos. Plus, it means they'll be compatible with all older iPad mini accessories, but those huge bezels at the top and the bottom mean it definitely doesn't look like a brand new 2019 tablet. Obviously there's no Face ID here, we have the classic Touch ID home button, although I know some people do actually prefer this. Also, Apple have stuck with a Lightning connector rather than USB-C, which you get on the latest iPad Pros. It kind of feels like we're stuck in this weird limbo with Apple when it comes to ports. iMacs, MacBooks, and iPad Pros have USB-C, whereas iPhones and cheaper iPads still have Lightning. I mean, it's not the end of the world, and I do understand why they've stuck with Lightning. Again, for compatibility with accessories, including the first-gen Apple Pencil, and for the same reason they've kept the old, chunkier design, to differentiate it from the higher-end models. But when you've just spent at least £400 on an iPad mini with all the new bells and whistles on the inside, but on the outside nothing really has changed, it's a little bit disappointing. But fat bezels and old ports aside, it's still lovely to use. It's 6.1mm thick, has dual speakers, albeit only on the bottom unlike the Pros, so the sound only comes out of one side, but there is a headphone jack. And I've got to say, I forgot how nice it actually is to use a small tablet. It's a 7.9-inch Retina LCD screen, and great for reading books, watching videos, browsing the web, playing games, doodling with the pencil. And unlike iPad Pros, which are obviously much bigger and cost about twice as much, there's no question around the iPad mini replacing your laptop or your desktop. It's clearly a secondary device. Something to have on the coffee table or to use while you're on the commute, or even give to your kids to play with. I actually have a 2-year-old nephew who's the cutest thing in the world, and he loves to play with phones and tablets and touch things, and while I wouldn't be particularly comfortable with him playing with a £800 iPad Pro, it's also just way too big. So something like the iPad mini, which doesn't cost an absolute fortune, and even with a case on is still a good size, well, I'd be much happy with him playing some kids games from the App Store on this. But then you may think that's seriously overkill for a kid or as a coffee table paperweight. Why not just get, say, a Kindle Fire or something? Well, that is a fair comment, and I think they do offer much better value for money. But whether you're a fan of Apple or not, you have to agree their App Store has a far better range of tablet-optimized apps and games than anything else. Except, of course, for Instagram. I mean, what the hell is this? You can even run AR apps now on the Mini since we have the A12 chip and iOS 12. But whatever you end up using it for, it's just a nice experience. Android tablets have come a long way, but except for a cheap Kindle Fire, which you just can't beat when it comes to price, or maybe the Galaxy Tab S5e, although that's using a mid-range processor, in my opinion, iPads really are the best tablets. Although I still can't quite believe that this is how you charge the first generation Apple Pencil. It's like a lollipop. And also, you're guaranteed to lose the cap. I mean, the reason Apple didn't go with the second-gen Pencil for the new Mini or the new Air is because, well, you'd need the USB-C port, plus only the iPad Pros with the new design have the flat magnetic edges. So the first-gen Pencil definitely has its flaws, but it's still nice to use and it's a good option to have. Although for $99, and considering it is now the older generation one, it would have been nice if they just bundled it with the iPad. The 7-megapixel front camera has also been updated, plus they've repositioned the microphone so it's much better for FaceTime calls. The camera on the back though is basically the same as before, 8 megapixels, it can shoot 1080p video. I'm not that bothered about it really. I mean, if you want a good camera on the back of your tablet, you can pay more and get the iPad Pros. Quality is okay and it's good enough for scanning documents if that's what you need, but you probably shouldn't really expect to take great photos with an iPad mini anyway. Battery life is incredible though. Apple quote 10 hours, the same as all other iPads, but even that's a bit conservative. It's seriously good. I've been using this pretty intensely for the review and it'll easily get me through a full day. And if you're just watching videos or browsing the web, you'll easily get 11 hours. Okay, so we've established the iPad mini looks old, but it feels fast. And with the App Store, you can't really get a better tablet experience. But is the iPad mini the one to buy? You've got a lot of options, the iPad mini, the iPad Air, and the 2 Pros. So obviously the big selling point of the mini is its size, but if you want to use it for work or be more productive, the iPad Air has also been updated. It shares the exact same specs, but with a bigger 10.5-inch screen, and it has the smart connector for keyboards. You can always use Bluetooth keyboards with the mini, but it's not as seamless and it's just a bit small. The iPad Air is £80 more expensive though than the mini, so you have to weigh up whether that's worth it for you just for that bigger screen and the smart connector. On the other hand, you have the base iPad, which is £80 less than the mini at $319. It's bigger, but it does have older hardware like the A10 processor, and the screen isn't quite as nice. But really, it all comes down to what size you want, and if you want a great tablet that you can use one-handed, then you can't really beat the iPad mini. What do you think though? Would you go for the iPad mini, the iPad Air, or the iPad Pro? Vote in the poll at the top right, and also let me know what you make of the new mini in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching guys. Hit that like and subscribe button down there if you enjoyed the video and you want to see more of my stuff. I'll catch you next time right here on the Tech Chat.